we wanted an event which kind of challenged people's perceptions a bit about coaching. There is never only one way to do something, there are many ways, and the real idea and this sort of ethos of this event is there are so many things to learn and things to experiment with, and the event is all about challenging yourself, thinking about what your strengths are, what you're not so good at, and then from there researching, listening, talking to others, developing yourself, and above all I think it's the message of just trying new stuff, trying to expand. We're never the finished article as a coach. I think you're always growing and developing, and every one of the speakers embodies that.
I think as the sport's expanding, from a coaching perspective, we're realising how complex it is as a sport actually, and how many different facets there are to being a good climber, that how many different ways there are to improve performance and to support an athlete. So I'm kind of talking about flexibility, the different ways that it can be important for climbing and important for coaches to have a bit of knowledge of, and how you can use yoga as a tool within that. It can improve your efficiency, your functional movement, injury prevention, good posture. There's also a lot of breath work in yoga which can help you make big changes to the way you climb, the way you move, and the way you manage your breath within climbing, which can then have an effect on your aerobic function.
An idea that I will always look at the head first, and then I'll look at the body afterwards. So the head is what's driving the body up the wall. So yes, I will look at certain techniques and I'll look at how they're moving, etc., etc. But if the head isn't happy, or it's not focused or whatever, then the body doesn't stand a chance, basically. I guess what I'm trying to do is to highlight some other areas that are a little bit more kind of touchy-feely. They're a little bit more kind of, you're going to have to play around with them because they are a lot more unique to the individuals, but as coaches, and especially at the top end, you're only working with a few individuals. So you have to really get to know them and get to know how they work and how they respond. And for me, the face is an access point to that.
But I do believe that any athlete needs training and needs like components to complement their sport. And that's kind of like the way I have been raised in sports, is you always are training to get better at your sport. So you would perform and then you go back to the gym and train. And so I think for climbing, like climbers are really starting to see the importance of that. And some athletes I worked with last summer, they really understand now, oh my gosh, like I've never really trained like this before, and they saw the improvements, but also how much time it takes. There's a very time commitment to train like that. So I think it's vital. I think it's very, very important to have a training element, to your climbing that is not just climbing,
So it's taking climbers out of the climbing wall, away from the fingerboard, into the gym, which goes against the grain for a lot of them, making them throw big weights around and doing compound exercises, bench press, deadlifts, bit of squats, push press, being sort of our fundamental key exercises. Hoping to develop more robustness in climbers, more mobility, greater core strength, that sort of thing.
So doing this general style of training, which every sport does, apart from climbing, you'd see, and so it's really surprising that we're one of the first people, especially in Sheffield, to implement it. Get a really good base model, improve their sort of athleticism through this, and then so when they do come to do their sport-specific training, then they can have a better base in order to do so.
So if you ask human beings to do like a complex task, we get easily confused, and my presentation looks a little bit of how you could potentially improve these things. For me, I started coaching the bouldering team in Germany in 2009, and traditionally the German climbers had been physically really strong, but not, I shouldn't say not very good climbers, but there were lots of things to improve. And for me, it's who wins. Once you made it into a final, it's decided between the ears. It's mental skills, it's motor skills. And so it's on a world level. This is where you get the improvement, and not with 3% more grip strength. No, it's at the high-end level is really a matter about priorities, and it's going for like basic movement skills. And for example, a climber swings out, and will he catch the foothold on the way in, or will he or she needs to readjust and then goes swings in with a backswing? No, so waste some time. That can make the difference between winning and second place, or 8th place, or 15th place. So I see it almost as low-hanging fruit to talk about these things.
Anxiety, whenever we have pressure, whether it be in competition, whether it be in whether you're doing your first route of the season, there is going to be certain pressures there, and if there's pressure there may therefore be anxiety. Now, I'm not saying anxiety is always bad. To a certain point, anxiety is good, and then we may have a choking experience, and our performance decreases. And these are just different strategies in order to control this anxiety, so we don't have this decrease in performance. So how important is it? It's very important for us to be able to gain some control over anxiety if it's going to have a negative effect.